because they only used to be able to sell, what, 2 liter?
It was 3 liters per person.
3 liters per person, and now
it's 9. So it's essentially a case.
9 liter. Okay. And that gives them ability.
And will it still only lets me do 2 bottles of
yeah.
So it's to me that's important because our visitors do like to take stuff home.
Yeah.
Just like when you go to Napa and you can take cases.
Yeah, right.
But to me, it's more the experiences that people will be able to have.
Do you ever pour yourself a bourbon, swirl it around, and then start struggling to come up with tasting notes? And perhaps you're also looking for a good Father's Day gift idea. Well, you can now solve both with a kit from Knows Your Bourbon. And unlike other nosing kits on the market, Knows Your Bourbon kits feature real ingredients for the most authentic aromas. You can smell real Tahitian vanilla bean instead of some synthetic aroma that's just made from chemicals. So head on over to knowsyourbourbon.com and enter code BP10 for 10% off your order. From their bar to yours, Chad and Sarah of the popular YouTube channel It's Bourbon Night bring you their favorite at-home old-fashioned mix with the new Elemental Elixir's Golden Hour Syrup. It's a custom-made syrup with notes of bold black tea, warm spices, and orange zest. All you need is your favorite whiskey and ice. No bitters needed. One bottle makes 16 drinks, so that's only $1 a cocktail before you add your own whiskey. They can also be enjoyed in other cocktails or spirits, mocktails, coffee, tea, and anything you can think of. It's crafted locally in Lexington, Kentucky, and you can get your bottle now at whiskeyambitions.com. Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many great bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try with some help from one of their friendly guides. And with every bottle comes the confidence of knowing you just found something amazing. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly and be 21.
Play Whiskey Wednesday, Round 11, the memory game. Until June 26, each week you could win one of our 12 incredible grand prizes. Select 2 doors at checkout. And if they match on drawing night, you'll win that bottle. Not a match? No worries. You still score a Weller 12-year. Every $5 ticket gives you 5 chances to win, including 4 weekly bonus prizes. Get your tickets now at give270.org. Charitable Gaming License ORG 0002703.
Ed Bly and Rising Tide Spirits are back again with a new release of Old Stubborn Bourbon. And this release of Old Stubborn is a premium hand marriage of 10, 11, and 12-year cask strength, barely filtered pot still bourbon. It comes in at a staggering 123.8 proof. And the flavoring grain for this one, which the last one was wheated, but this time it's now rye. Rich, sweet, and bold with a long finish that's sure to be another eye-opener. You can order online at Sealbox or thebourbonconcierge.com. And you can even purchase in person at Revival Vintage Spirits, and even now with very few select stores in Kentucky. You can get it now while you can, but be sure to do it because it's not going to last long. Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pursuit Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I got Ryan here today, and there was actually an interesting bill that was passed by the Senate. It was Senate Bill 11. It was a tourism reform bill. Ryan, can you kind of give the listeners a little bit more information about it?
Yeah, our government finally did something positive for our community. No, I'm kidding. But so Senate Bill 11 essentially you go to a distillery, you could only buy, I think it was 2 liters of product to take home with you. 3 liters. So now they've upped that to 9, so you can get pretty much a whole case, and it makes total sense. I don't know why they put the restriction on that, but it's going to allow distilleries to do a lot of cool things, like have bars and more experiences. Well, it's also for the tourists. It's going to be a better experience.
A little bit different than like going to wine country and shipping a case back home and whatnot.
I don't know if you'll be able to join bourbon clubs. They have, the wineries have their own wine clubs.
I don't know that.
No, you don't. Oh, well, if you go to the wine country, yeah, each individual winery, you can join their club and they send you boxes. But anyways, getting off on a
on a tangent there.
But no, I think it's a great move by our government, and I think it's going to be great for the bourbon tourist industry.
Yeah, and speaking of tourism and events, today's a perfect day to introduce our first ever three-peat guest. Today we've got Adam Johnson, the director of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and today we're going to be talking about the Kentucky Bourbon Affair. So last time you were on here was episode 14. We were talking about the Kentucky Bourbon Affair. So what have you been up to for the past year?
Same old, same old. I'm just excited. I mean, this is a title, right? The three-peat.
Yeah.
Right. Do I get any
you're
kind
the
of
first.
You get
medal or something?
It's a lightning bolt patch, I think.
Yeah, congratulations.
Do I get a banner from the ceiling?
You got to sew it on yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Big fan myself. So, happy to talk to you guys about the Bourbon Affair coming up. And I appreciate the mention of Senate Bill 11. Like Kentucky Bourbon Affair, it's supposed to be a world-class experience. And I think Senate Bill 11 allows us to have that world-class experience every day at our distilleries because, right now you're able to come in and you're able to do a tasting. But now when this change goes into effect, it'll probably be August or so. And then you'll see the distilleries on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail start rolling out more experiences like a restaurant, like a bar where you can actually see these products in a cocktail. You can see taste the flight of different products. It's big for our heritage members. It's huge for our craft guys because you can have that cocktail. Because sometimes, an unaged whiskeys can be intimidating to people. Oh, but have you had it in a mojito? Well, here you go. Here's you can show the versatility of your products. And it really helps our guys from an economic standpoint, right inside, their home turf. So very excited for that, not only for the bottle sales that you mentioned, but for the experiences you're going to get at our distilleries.
So were you part of like the lobbying, sitting there with like pickets?
Oh yeah, it was all me. No, actually, it was Kristen Metters in our office. I mean, she really gets a lot of credit. Her and Chris Nolan, who's on our lobbying team, and then Eric Gregory, our boss. I mean, they worked this pretty hard, and really our members stepped up, and that's the beauty kind of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and the craft tour now is we cover more of the state, and so that affects more districts, and more legislators kind of starting to see the economic impact of bourbon tourism, and so to see the support we got was fantastic, both in the House and the Senate, and to have this pass when it did is just, I think, confirmation of the fact that people realize bourbon is a big business, not only, on the bottle sale side, but tourism. I mean, this is going to bring more people in. People are going to be extending their stays. They're going to be coming back. Oh, I've been to Maker's Mark before. Wait till you see what they're going to do in a year. Oh, another reason to go back. So just as an example. So I think this is going to be a game changer for Kentucky. I try to look in my crystal ball and see a couple of years down the road, and I get excited. I mean, it's job security for me, right. So that's personally, so I'm like, thanks guys. Thanks for passing this. But I really think our visitors, I know our guys are going to do an awesome job.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, when we were talking about the winery, that you can, do the wine tour, you find a bottle that you like and you can buy one and sit outside, have lunch and enjoy it. I feel like now this will give the visitors that experience too, to kind of enjoy, Kentucky even more.
Yeah. It's going to showcase Kentucky food, not only just Kentucky bourbon and our other products. And like I said, I really see the versatility of some of these places they're going to roll out. I'm just excited. I kind of hear little tidbits of information coming, and I think once this thing goes into effect, probably July, August, you're going to start seeing some really cool stuff. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
That'll be another show.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, so let's talk about the topic of the show today, right? The Kentucky Bourbon Affair. Yeah. We've talked about it a few times. We've always said that it's like a fantasy camp for bourbon lovers. Call it like barrel proof experiences, right?
I like that.
Like it's really that whole thing. So I guess for anybody that hasn't listened to past episodes, like they didn't feel like starting from the beginning, like they didn't want to Netflix binge on us. They just started a few episodes ago. Give everybody kind of a recap of what really is the Kentucky Bourbon Affair.
So just quick history. The KDA, which is where I work, Kentucky Distillers Association, they've been kicking around doing an event. Internally, we were calling it a bourbon conference. And that about 10 years ago, honestly, is when they really started kicking around. And like good bourbon. It takes some time. Took us a while to kind of get our act together and get something out there. So this is our third year. We decided to kind of go differently than a bourbon conference. That didn't sound very exciting. So we were like, we came up with the Kentucky Bourbon Affair and really went from more of like a seminar type situation to, no, let's get people behind the scenes at the distillers with just crazy events. So this is our third year. I think if you go to kybourbonaffair.com and start clicking through the events, you'll see we got a little bit of everything for everyone. The first year we did, for example, at Wild Turkey, you were doing skeet shooting with Jimmy and Eddie Russell, the master distillers there. It was so popular that they decided to bring that back for the third year to give people another little taste of that. And that's not something you do every day at Wild Turkey when they bring in skeet shooting down there. Or it's going to be getting to see behind the scenes at Cox's Creek at Four Roses. A lot of people haven't seen the warehousing there. So we're going to do something really cool where they're going to have brand ambassadors get on the bus with our guests, take them to not only Lawrenceburg, but Cox's Creek as well, and do some really hands-on stuff behind the scenes. And these are just examples of some of the stuff that we've done in the past and that we're going to be rolling out.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of want to interrupt you right there, because I was actually fortunate enough to go to the opening event last year, right? When I was at the MegaCavern.
Yep.
It was a phenomenal experience, right? I think you were out of town, Ryan. You
missed out.
I know.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really cool when I went there. I was able to kind of like rub shoulders and meet some of the titans of the industry and stuff like that, and met some really cool people that came from out of town for these events. And my wife actually, since it was at the MegaCaverns, they have this huge ropes course that's in there, and I'm actually terrified of heights. And my wife has been begging me for months to just go there. And I'm like, here we go. Perfect opportunity. Get to meet Fred Minnick, and I get to go and, almost piss my pants.
Yeah.
So talk about where's the opening event this year and kind of what's going to take place there?
Well, first, so the first year we did it, our opening was much more formal. It was at 21C, and it was, we tried to create the world's largest tasting bar. So we had something like 130 different products on that bar. And that was a little bit more formal. So then, like you said, last year it was in the MegaCavern. So we're always trying to change it up. This year we're doing Kings of Copper, which will be at Copper and Kings for our golden ticket people. We're going to do the Shermans were nice enough to let us go in after hours at Vendome, where they make so many of the stills that power our industry. So they're going to go there, see how that process is made. They're going to be heating and beating a little bit for us, as they call it, as they make those stills. And then everyone's going to go over to Copper and Kings. And Joe, I don't know if you all have been there. Joe's
just an amazing facility.
They're just great hosts, and they're rolling out the carpet for this event. And we're going to do a little bit of a Pro-Am cocktail contest. So it's going to feature a lot of our craft distillers, and you have a chance where it's professional bartenders. And if you got a recipe that you hey, this is a killer bourbon recipe, or I make a great take on mojito or something, this is your chance. We're going to pair you with a distillery and a brand.
Add RC Cola.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right.
Dr. Thunder.
Whatever you want to add, some Ale-8 or however, if you want to get as fancy or simple as you want. And you're going to go up against professional and amateur bartenders. And then if you make that first cut, we're going to do kind of a chopped. Have you ever seen that show, Chopped?
Yeah.
It's going to be a chopped style thing. We're going to have mystery ingredients, and the crowd's going to be around you. We're going to have a DJ kind of emceeing it. Can you incorporate these crazy ingredients into your cocktail?
Cool. Like candy canes or something, right?
Yeah. So if you guys, hit up the show, if you guys got good ideas for our secret ingredients, we're all ears. We've tossed around some ideas, but we haven't decided on anything yet. So if you got ideas for a good mystery ingredient. So that's the opening event. It's really going to feature our craft guys and show, because we just have so many of these guys coming up in Kentucky, not only around the country, but Kentucky's really, people are coming here just because we have so much history and heritage in our industry and so many resources. So we've been blessed to have our membership grow. And we're going to really try to feature some of those guys at that event.
So talk about some of the newer events that are happening this year, right? I mean, you try to switch it up a little bit every year, try to not have, we talked about, skeet shooting with the Russells as sort of a continuing thing. But what are some of the things that are new on the docket that you couldn't have done last year?
Okay. So the first and biggest is we got Whiskey Live coming in. So Whiskey Live, they do shows all across the world. So when you see their schedule, it's usually London and
They're bigger than us.
Bigger than Louisville, correct. So, but they're coming to Louisville this time. It's going to be at the Marriott Louisville East. It's going to be the Saturday night of Bourbon Affair. So I think that's June 18th. We're going to have everybody there is our hope, whether you're a Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, and we're really just going to try to show off Kentucky bourbon. So we're going to have as many of our members as we can get there. And we want a good turnout of folks just to see the spectrum of products that are out there and really, put our stake in the ground a little bit and say, hey, Kentucky can compete with these, world titans of whiskey. So really excited for that. And that's going to be the Saturday night event. We've also got, just to change it up again, we've done polo in the past. So many of our out-of-town guests, so many of our Bourbon Affair guests are out of town, are from California. They're from New York. They're from Florida. They're from Texas. They're from all over. And they really want that quintessential experience with horses. So we're going to be at the Derby Museum. We're going to do a brunch there on Sunday. That'll be the send-off. It's Father's Day, so it'll make a great gift for people. We're going to have a special curator's tour of some stuff you don't normally get to see. And then you can spend your day at the track at Churchill Downs. So it checks a lot of boxes for what our guests have told us, because we always try to survey them and see what they want to do. So excited to have that. That's a different. Each of the distilleries have kind of tweaked some of their experiences. Like Michter's, for example, they're bringing in some of the top bartenders from around the world. I think Sweden, just all over, to showcase their product with that sense of their place, where they're from. So that event is going to be really cool. They're doing something at Whitehall too for a dinner that on one of their nights. I'm excited for what Four Roses is doing. I touched on that a little bit with seeing both of their sites, but their night event, they're doing something at Flame Run. You're going to make your own bourbon glass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool. So it's stuff like that. Jim Beam's having a dinner at the new Urban Still House. So if you had a chance to see that downtown, they're doing something really cool.
I saw that was like
no utensils. Yeah, it's
like
going to be
eating beefsteak with Fred Noe or something like that.
Yeah, that one's going to be good.
Man can eat.
Yeah. Maker's Mark, they're doing just a ton of different events, really showcasing some of the culinary side and with some of their new private select that they've done. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to taste some of those that are out there.
I saw that this one's going to be at 8 Up, where they got to do their own private Maker's Mark selection. We featured that on a past episode with Brian Gelfo. And yeah, so you get to go there, you get to try the Maker's Mark selection that 8 Up had, as well as, it's from what I haven't been there yet, but I've heard it's a fantastic restaurant in Louisville.
Oh, it's the view and the atmosphere and ambiance is bar none. It's awesome.
Right. And that's just to touch on something that we've gotten a lot from our surveys too, is in the past 2 years, people are just blown away by the culinary talent in Louisville. Because that's what we try to really pair these things up, is a distillery or a spirit with some of these iconic places that we're fortunate enough to have here in Kentucky. But our guests, that's what they said. They can't believe it. Like the meal that people had at Michter's last year, people said was the best meal they've had in the last 5-10 years. And that's, here in Kentucky. So we really try to showcase that, and Makers does that with a couple events. They're doing something with Chard and at 8 Up. Rob Samuels is doing something at his house where they're going to taste one of the original bottles of T.W. Samuels. They've also got a Bourbon Academy. Because, Bourbon Affair really is for the bourbon aficionado, but we realized we didn't really have anything for somebody, hey, I'm kind of new to bourbon. So they've got Makers University on Saturday. We got a couple tickets left for that, I think, where you get more an entry-level exposure to that. And that's sold pretty well. So it's interesting. We're trying to cater to both audiences a little bit.
And then even there's another night one. We had just released another podcast recently talking about the Fraser Museum with the Old Forester Speakeasy series, right? So that's another one. And that one, oh gosh, I don't know if there's a ticket max, right? Because they said they had 400 people last time. There could be a lot of people
we can blow
there.
it out. So come on down for that Old Forester event. That's going to be on the Friday night. Woodford's got their dinner with Chef Weta Michael, who's a tremendous chef, pairing things with Woodford. We talked a little bit about Wild Turkey. There's just so many. I'm actually looking at the website going, making sure I cover everything.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep track of all this.
Yeah.
I just try to think, well, what are you interested in? What's your favorite brand when people call me all the time? Because this is just, I don't know if this is a secret, but we have a phone number on there. That's my cell phone. Like people call me all the time. Like, all right, so what should I do? How do I do this? And that's actually my favorite part, as I love telling people, well, have you been before? Oh, try this. Or I'm kind of the bourbon concierge is what my boss calls it. I kind of like that. I like being able to kind of guide people with what they might like. For example, the last thing too that I should mention is I don't know if you guys had Bernie from Heaven Hill,
Yes.
Bernie Lovers
Yes.
on your show. Well, he's doing his kind of musical performance down there in Bardstown with the rick houses as the backdrop with dinner. I provide the transportation for you. You don't have to worry about driving. So you just get on the bus. You'll go listen to Bernie play. You're going to taste some amazing whiskeys down there because their day events at Heaven Hill are sold out. And that one was really crazy.
If you're anything like me, then you can't get enough about bourbon. And that's why I'm a subscriber to Bourbon Plus magazine. Bourbon Plus is a quarterly publication that tells the stories from the heart of bourbon, the farmers who grow the grain, the distillers who labor over the process, and the people like you and me who raise their glasses to celebrate it all. Subscribe to Bourbon Plus magazine today at bourbonplus.com, that's PLUS.com, and use code PURSUIT at checkout for $5 off your subscription. Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify's point of sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. And with Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers in line and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns, from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. And get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone. Transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system or use Shopify's point-of-sale Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/bourbon, all lowercase, and go to shopify.com/bourbon to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/bourbon.
Yeah, talk about that
So
one.
you're
Because
gonna
I saw
be-
that. It's called Heaven Hill's Build-aBarrel. Like,
Yeah.
what was that?
So you're going to go to Evan Williams Bourbon Experience downtown Louisville, and as a group, you're going to kind of fashion from start to finish your ideal bourbon. So it's going to be, all right, what kind of finishing grain do we want to go with? What kind of yeast do we want to go with? And you're going to kind of make your own thing from start to finish. And then as it ages, you're going to kind of check in on that. And when that group thinks it's ready, they're going to work on getting that to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, that's what I've even noticed, because it seemed like almost like half the events are sold out, and anything that even remotely was close to you picking a barrel is gone.
Yeah, our private barrel selections, including for the first time, Wild Turkey was doing their Russell's Reserve rye single barrel, which is awesome. I don't know if you guys have tried that yet. So that one sold out. Beams sold out. Four Roses, always so popular, their barrel selection, that sold out. These are all good problems to have. And I think sometimes people get discouraged, but if you do go to the website, there's still a ton of events. Like the Blade and Bow Field Supper is going to be really good at the distillery at Stitzel-Weller. And they're almost, I think the history is like when they first opened, it was like a Derby party. It didn't open in Derby. I know you guys had a show there. I'm almost
Something
positive.
like
So they try to key in with Derby. And from my understanding, it's kind of like, Southern Living meets the Derby, this kind of field party. And they're going to do a good job on that. So
that's awesome. So if you had to think of some of the tickets that are still available, and they're the ones that, because I'm calling Adam, right? I'm looking at the website and I'm calling you right now. And I say, okay, I see like there's like 7 or 8 events left that still have tickets available. Which are the ones I go to, right? So give me your top 3 right now that
are still available. Well, I want people coming to Whiskey Live, because I think that'll be great exposure to a lot of stuff. I think, and I've heard from some of the brands that are going to be there, from what they're bringing, it'll be worth you checking out. So definitely want you to check out Whiskey Live, and it's linked on our website to go to Whiskey Live to purchase your tickets. That's outside of our event. We're just kind of partnering with them. So we got the direct link on there. Definitely want you to hit up that. Ideally, I would want you to hit a day event and a night event. So if you came in on a Friday, look at some of the events like Bullet's got some tickets available still for their day event, and then check out, Bernie's concert that night. So look at something where you can kind of pair that, and you'll see that online. We've got it broken down by day and night if you check on the schedule page, because we really tried to make it easy, because that's what most people like to do is we've timed it so you can do that day event. You've got some time to relax, and then you get on the bus, and we take you to the next spot. Because remember, your transportation is included in your ticket. We don't want anybody messing around. We take responsible drinking pretty seriously. So that bus is part of your ticket, and you just get on, get off, have a great time, get back on, and go to the next event. So
where do you meet at? I mean, is there a certain hotel?
It's at the Marriott Louisville East. They're our host hotel again. I mean, they're the only bourbon themed hotel. And they do such a great job for us. And this will be the third year that we've been out of there.
Yeah, I have yet to actually go to that Marriott and check out chart and stuff like that.
Well, we've got an event there. We've got an event there with Maker's Mark. They're going to have Jane will be there, one of their brand ambassadors, along with Brad out of Independent Stave, who's going to talk about some of the wood that goes into that Maker's 46 Private Select. And wait till you taste some of these that are going to be coming out. So, for example, I'm proud to say the KDA has our bottle is almost ready. Like, what's the date today? Like, when this comes out, I mean, we're within a week of having ours with that second finish. Yeah, and we got to pick our recipe with those 10 staves. It's a phenomenal program down there, and I think you're starting to see some of those bottles on the shelf. I know Westport Whiskey has one, which is excellent. I think Keeneland just had theirs with their racing season, so you'll start to see those out on the market. I encourage people to go check some of those out.
I actually just tasted the quote unquote the Bourbon Mafia pick.
Was that good?
That's down at the Haymarket Whiskey Bar.
Okay,
on Market
I haven't
Street.
tried that one. Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah, I mean it was a good introduction into what they've been doing there,
right.
Because I think the program's a fantastic idea. Right, gives it a little bit of a unique spin. Right.
Yeah, it's great, and everything I've tried so far has been really good. And just keep checking out some of these events and email if you have questions. But we've got stuff that's more formal, like a night out. Jim Beam's doing a really behind the scenes tour down in Claremont, and then following up with a cornhole tournament right there on the lake back there by the Knob Creek House. I don't know if a lot of people haven't been back there.
I've sprayed mosquitoes back there before.
There you go. So you know how beautiful it is. Back there.
It is gorgeous.
You can't believe it.
You don't even realize it's back there
right,
when you're pull at the distillery.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, each one of the brands has really done a good job of providing something really unique. Everything from, Old Forester as they kind of gear up with their distillery getting ready to open, hopefully not too soon or not too far away, to Wild Turkey bringing back one of those classic events that people just went nuts over.
Mm-hmm.
So check out that website. Don't be intimidated by the number of events. It's done for a reason to give people plenty of options. And if you need some help, just hit me up.
Yeah, so you can get those at kybourbonaffair.com. And the one thing that we did forget to say is, when is the Kentucky Bourbon Affair?
It's June 14th through the 19th. So, like I said, that event at Churchill Downs and at the Derby Museum is Father's Day Sunday. So,
right,
give the gift of bourbon.
Keeps giving.
Exactly. So
I was like, so we're only a few weeks away. So I would start planning some plane tickets, or find a few buddies to ride in a car with. Figures we've got the most spacious Yukon that you can
right.
take a road trip, right?
Exactly.
Talk about a little bit. So last year, this was going on, and kind of talk about what's Adam doing during the Kentucky Bourbon Affair.
Yeah.
Are you running around with a chicken with your
head cut off? How many miles do you put on your body?
Yeah, it is a tough event because we are a small staff, but we all look forward to it just because people just love it. And I get to kind of see some of it. I get to kind of pop my head in a couple of events, but really we're just making sure everything's running smoothly. People are on the bus out to the next event. We plan a couple of our events, like the opening and the closing are kind of on us a little bit. So those take a little bit of our resources, but really it's just hanging out with all our guests, making sure they're having a good time. And it's my favorite time of year. I love it. It's
your Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing we do, but it's also the most fun. I mean, the experiences that people have had. If you could see the surveys we get back, I mean, people are just
talk about that. I mean, there's some comments that really like stuck out to you that you want to share to kind of be like,
yeah. I mean, one of the stories we like to tell, and I think it kind of speaks to what we're blessed with here. We kind of take for granted is at Old Forester, or at the Brown-Forman campus, they have the bottle on the roof, right? Mm-hmm. So it was one of those things I was like, man, I always wanted to go up there and say I've been under the Old Forester bottle. And so I was bugging the folks there at Brown-Forman, and they kind of tailored an event to that. And so they actually had, the first year, it was about 30 people. They had a nice little meal. They gave us some history and a little bit of a tour, and then it was kind of a surprise. And then they walked them up there. Chris Morris is there, the master distiller. You're up on the roof under the tower, and he busts out probably the original single barrel, which was the President's Select that Mr. Brown used to pick for people. And this was from 1953. So he had a bottle of this, and he let people taste this phenomenal 1950s whiskey, sunset under the water tower. And people were just like, this is unbelievable. And I remember Mayor Fisher said to him, it was one of those things where, how hard was it just to open up the roof door? Logistically, it's not that difficult, but it's the kind of transformative experience that we have here. I'm not saying this very well, but I think it's one of those things, you just take advantage of what we have here. And
right.
We take that for granted sometimes, especially sometimes people in the industry are like, oh, it's the water tower. But to other people, it's like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. So, and the fact that, Chris went out of his way to really pour something special. Now you take that event, go across any one of the brands, the stuff that they poured, the stuff that I know that they're going to pour, that they're going to surprise people with, the gifts that they gave. Like I know Four Roses, for example, the first year they did their private barrel selection, John Ray, who's big time at Four Roses, in his basement, he made all these whiskey thieves by hand for all the guests. So all 15 got one that John Ray made. So it's like little things like that our guests notice. And I almost feel bad that I'm the one that they always talk to, because I was like, you need to tell our members and the people that put this on. And so when we get those surveys back, I love passing that stuff on, because people they just rave over some of these experiences that they've had here. So I think those are two good examples. I would just think, because I still bug John Ray all the time. I was like, where's my whiskey? Yeah. Come on, John.
You're able to crank out 15 of them.
Right? I bug the brand's staff over there pretty good about that too. So maybe if I retire one day, I'm hoping John makes me a whiskey thief. Yeah.
There you go.
That's all I need.
So talk about, lastly, how far did people travel? Like, what was the greatest distance travel that somebody did last year for the Bourbon Affair? Because where people are coming from all around the country and possibly around the world to kind of check this out.
Yeah, we had, I know over the last 2 years, we've had a guest from Ireland, a guest from Japan, Canada. I think we've had 2 folks from Australia, but all over the United States. I think, like I said before, California's been good to us. Texas, we've got a gentleman that comes every year from Lower Alabama. Just all over. We've been so happy. We get some local folks for sure, and they usually are hosting somebody from out of town, but predominantly people are either flying in or driving in from a pretty good distance. It just shows that people love coming to Kentucky and getting behind the scenes, because we do bourbon pretty well here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bourbon and fast horses, fast women. I don't know. How's it work again?
I think that's how it goes.
Well, again, Adam, thank you again for coming on the show today.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah. Again, 3-peat. Who knows? Probably doing this again next year. Probably
right.
4-peater, right? Yeah.
May comes around. No Adam's coming on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, awesome. That. Yeah. So make sure you go to kybourbonaffair.com. Check out some of the things that are there. Get those tickets. His cell phone number is on the website.
Just don't call me too late, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the latest they can call you?
Just keep it before 9. I gotta stay happily married.
So, for those West Coast people, that's 6 o'clock your time.
Yeah, exactly. Do the math on that.
Well, awesome. So if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe to us on Facebook and iTunes. Also, you can please support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/bourbon pursuit. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, follow us. We're awesome on there too.
Yep. And any show suggestions, feedback, criticism, we love to hear it. And we'll see you next time.
All right.